Hello everyone, it's Fred again from Notes of a Nomad, video number 161. I'm currently in Chitwan in Nepal, and I'll explain to you what happened in the past week. And I'll show you some pictures which will help explain some of what happened. So let me share my screen here and choose this. We had a school program on Saturday instead of Sunday, sorry, instead of Friday, which is our normal day. And I then stayed during Saturday, got on a bus after the school program, spent some time in Circuit, where Eager Bridge School was, and it shows here on the bottom of this Eager Bridge boarding school in Circuit. And then I took the bus from 6 p.m. on Saturday, arrived on Sunday morning at 7 a.m. So it was a 13-hour bus trip with a few short stops in between. I'll show you a picture of a little, which might explain a little bit about the bus trip shortly. Anyway, we had uh, at the school. This is a picture of the Eager Bridge School in Circuit. And the person here with his back to me in the backpack was the English teacher, Yadev. And I enjoyed working with him. He was a 24-year-old English teacher. And him and I ended up getting along very well. So that was his back. And we'll show you in the next picture what he looks like from the front. So there's Yadev. And this is the principal of the school, Deepan. He is welcoming some of the guests from the other schools as well to the presentation that these students are about to give for about Agora Speakers, demonstrating what they learned during the week that I was there. And this was a picture of some of the other additional students that I worked with. You'll see this picture or part of it a little bit later on where it was photoshopped into another background rather than this room. But these were some of the pictures of the students. And there's the principal here and his father who started the school about 37 years ago. Now, this was his father who started the school, giving me this hat and the scarf. I'm now getting a collection of Nepali hats and scarves because this is one of the traditional of their generosity and often gives you a token of love, so to speak, at the end of any presentation that you have on the visit to the school. So I'm gathering more and more of those Nepali hats. I then uh, went, we had some time. Yadev, the teacher, took me to a local park where I tried to get my wings. Couldn't fly with those wings. They were a bit awkward. Couldn't learn how to do that, so I had to take the bus. So I couldn't fly to Chitwan, where I am now. And this was the hotel I stayed in probably the top floor here. And we were uh, I stayed there for a couple of days. I was in the residence or the hostel for days. Then they needed the room for someone else and moved me into the hotel. And I was getting my stuff from the hotel before I had to leave. So that was, we are going to check out. And then Yadev took me to a local park where people come and visit and take pictures and relax. This was where you could have some drinking water from a fountain, uh, quite unique. And this was some of the pools with statues in the pool where people could wander around and take their pictures as well. And a park where children were on swings and slides and the teeter-totter, etc. And that was Yadev, the 24-year-old English teacher, who actually contacted me just the other night and said, I miss you. In fact, I think he just sent me another message. So We bonded to a certain extent. He's very helpful man. Hopefully, he wants to proceed with Agora speakers in the school. And this was the picture I showed you earlier, but it's been Photoshopped. And what they've done is they had, again, it's a token of love, but it was too large. It wouldn't even fit into my suitcase. So what I did, I suggested that Yadav perhaps puts it up as in for the memory of my visit with the students and put it in his classroom. Hopefully he's able to do that. So that's where the picture would end up because there's no way I could travel. The glass would be broken within, I think, the first bus trip, probably by now, if I had taken it on this bus trip that I took. So this is a picture of the bus, and that bus driver there drove for 13 hours with a few short stops from 6 p.m. on Saturday night to Sunday morning when we arrived at Chitwan. It was quite interesting. I didn't know I had arrived at Chitwan. I was saying, "Oh, I'm on my way to Chitwan." They said, "Oh, you're already in Chitwan." Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know where I was. Anyway, that was part of the excitement. And I'm at Orchid School. I think I might show you the hat they gave me, which has the orchid on it. You can see it probably later. And this is where I spent this week, where we prepared for the students to do another demonstration. They really stepped up. These are some of the students in the school grounds. And this was them practicing in the library their procedures with the Agora speakers, holding a meeting and practicing. And they stepped up and did an outstanding job. I worked with the teacher, Praktishaya, I think is how you pronounce her name, I'm sure. And Harry was easier for me to pronounce. And there's a sign here showing the Orchid School in Chitwan. And we had this for the week in this youth school orientation. And they did a lovely presentation. Here were there with some of the students when we were practicing, thought they'd try on my hat. And this is where they fed me. I don't eat as much as they want me to. And Nepali hospitality is wonderful. And they kept, come and eat, come and eat. And this again was the presentation. And, and they did an outstanding job in front of individual students and teachers from other schools from the area to introduce them to the Agora Speakers Youth Program. The last picture I have is this sign, which is in the school grounds, which says, "Tell me and I'll forget, show me and I may remember, but involve me and I'll understand." And that really resonated with me because that's what we're doing with them, involving them in the program. And that's how they will, that's how they will understand what Agora speakers can do for them. So with that, I'd like to share some of my thoughts now that I've been here for probably almost half of the time I'll be in Nepal. And I noticed that, for example, in the schools, they work hard. The students go 6 days a week, start on Sunday until Friday. They only have Saturday off. And often if you go to a school on a Saturday, some of them are still there doing other activities. So the schools here and the students work very hard. The teachers as well and the principals, I'm very impressed with how involved they are in trying to give their students as best education possible. Then hospitality here is outstanding. They're very generous, very friendly, very hospitable, always asking, can we get you some food or some tea? So that's wonderful. As far as one of the challenges that have been discussed more than once by more than one person is there is a big brain drain here. Students go, there's not a lot of work opportunities in Nepal, not enough. Students go and study overseas in other countries and they stay there. And so they lose some of their brightest and smartest and hardworking people to other countries. And one of the suggestions that have come in the discussions is if we can improve their English, They are learning English, but if they improve it and the way the internet is changing, they can possibly work for other companies. Like in India, you have a lot of people who are running call centers, uh, help centers for IT, for on the computer side, and they're running their companies now. So there's a opportunity that perhaps Agra can help them with their English and with the internet. Then they don't have to leave their country and lose some of their brightest and smartest. And it's not always best. They miss their family and friends and their culture. So this is some way that I think we can help contribute to that. And also the leadership. If we have good leaders, you can see how it can impact the country so positively. A good example is Singapore. If you look at the history of Singapore, just see what's happened there because of the leadership. And in fact, another example that I can mention was in Africa, Botswana had Sir Seretse Khama, who had a very positive impact on the culture, the leadership, and the economy, and how the country is run in Botswana in Africa. So perhaps that could help Nepal. They have a lot of challenges because they have India to the south and China to the north, and it's hard to compete with them when it comes to certain business. But there's opportunities, such as I mentioned, Singapore and Botswana come to mind. It'd be like a Switzerland, become a Switzerland of Asia. So that's one of the things that I think we can help contribute through Agora Speakers. Last but not least, I want to mention I booked my ticket, return ticket now to Canada, but I'll be stopping off for a couple days in South Korea to visit a fella I met when we traveled in Africa in 2012, Jared, who is an American who happens to run an English speaking school there. So I'll look forward to visiting him. That's exciting as well. So with that, I'll say adios, au revoir, wishing you, your family, and friends lots of love and laughter. Bye for now from Fred and Notes of a Nomad.